Hello, everybody. Mike back again with FSD 14 Lite. Just doing a drive to the gym, and we'll just see how that goes. It's downtown, so there's going to be some uh, more highway than there has been on the previous tests, and a lot more people and cars and stuff. Though it's not a particularly challenging route. All right, we're off. I'm gonna move my water bottle. I do have my windows open, so I will need to close them for the highway, and we'll see. I don't know how much noise there will be from the wind. Actually, let me just close my windows now, just to make sure the wind noise isn't a problem. Um, so far, this version definitely is better than 12.6.4. At least I like it more than 12.6.4. Some of the new features and capabilities are nice. I mean, backing up when it gets itself trapped is kind of the nicest functional change. The parking stuff is nice when it works, but when it works is a pretty big if. Um, because it just doesn't all that often. And I think that's an issue that normal v14 has too. Uh, Sorry, just waiting to see how it handles this stop since there's no one around this time. That that felt great. I think we weren't going as fast, and that also helps. Um, 14 Lite tends to be closer to like mid 20s around that turn instead of getting up to like 30 plus, which is a better speed for the neighborhood anyway. So that also just makes that stop sign an easier thing because there's just more time. So um, yeah, backing up is better overall. Uh, the actual like actions it takes all feels smoother. I am curious about highway longer term. I was doing a drive yesterday, and you can see my streaks up to 32 miles. Um, that had a good amount of highway, and yeah, it just didn't. Standard didn't really want to seem to change lanes basically at all. Um, I did end up having to swap into hurry mode at one point because we were behind someone who was going below the speed limit, and there was tons of room around us, and people were passing us on left and right. So that was odd. Sorry, I'm just looking at this sale that's apparently happening at this appliance place. Um, Sorry for the distraction. Uh, yeah, so it wasn't going around that person, which was a little odd, because when it does, and then it's open, it goes, 5 to 10 over, which is appropriate for that area of the highway. So it staying almost 5 under behind a person when everything is open is not what I would expect from standard. Sloth, sure, absolutely. Chill, understandable. Standard, that's odd. I don't necessarily want it to make a lot of lane changes. Like, I don't want it to. If the speed limit's 65 and the person ahead of me is going 69, that's a nice speed. I'm okay staying behind them going 69. If they drop to 66, maybe then it changes. If they stay at that speed, if they only do it for a moment, then don't go around them. Like, they have to be going that speed for a little while before it should change lanes. But anyway, that's all personal preference stuff, but there's two slower speeds than standard that those behaviors make sense for, and there's only one higher speed. And I don't probably want to drive and hurry most of the time personally. Um, I'm not a speed demon, and I don't need to weave in and out of traffic. I'm generally okay with just like staying in one lane. But I also don't want to go below the speed limit for a significant period of time when there's no one around. So I guess that's my rant. You've seen this stretch of highway in my other videos. There's no one around us, probably nothing of note. So I'll fast forward until we get to some more interesting areas. Well, I did get dinged for looking at my phone, or at my watch, I should say, which is a smartwatch, so it's essentially a phone. Um, but I got notifications that the garage door was left open, so I needed to close that. I guess since I'm already talking, they got off at this exit, slowed down for that. We got people around, speeds all feel fine here. I was going to say about to be open, and I'm curious if we'll pass, and we will actually pass here. There's no one else behind us. Passing is appropriate. Like that, it's absolutely what I would do. Now, hopefully this person sees that we are in this lane. I think they'll also want to get in this lane because of the people who are joining here. That's the other reason to stay in this lane right now, is let all these people get on. Hopefully they remember to check their blind spot before they try to get over two lanes. And I would say, okay, there's a couple people coming on here, but we're going fast enough that they shouldn't be an issue. We should get over. We do have a person behind us. Good. Okay. I would have still gotten over a little bit earlier, but that wasn't just camping in the left lane with a person behind you. So now we are coming up to a speed change. First off, there's always people from here trying to get over to the right, people on the right trying to get over here. But it's also about to drop to 55, and the way the speed comes down is pretty nice. From my experience last night, it felt pretty similar here. Just kind of like a slow. You can feel it decelerating, but it's not like hard deceleration. It's a consistent slow, as opposed to, oh, the speed limit changed, let's just change the cap and get down to that speed as fast as possible. So yeah, the comfort is what I would talk about there. It was more comfortable. This gets tricky because there's two lanes joining from the right. The left lane's going to end soon. And this lane will turn into an exit on the left that we do not want to take. So we need to get over at least one lane in the next mile. Ideally, we want to get over like two. If we get over both lanes, that would be, I think, more correct. Okay, and it is choosing to get over now, which is an appropriate time for that. We are going to end up going straight. I will at some point test taking the 390 exit on the right, half a mile ahead, where we would need to be in the right lane. And sometimes 1264 waits too long to get over. It never misses it, or I've never let it miss it, I should say. I will do a test here in a moment. I'm going to make it go into the right lane with the turn signal just to see if that still works. So I'm going to do a light tap. Immediately the tentacle updated and we did the change. I do have the like confirmation where it even a light tap is enough for it to stay on until the lane change happens. I forget what that setting is called, but it's like the auto cancel blinkers. So I don't normally ever need to do a full press, but that was fine. I've had 12.64 follow cars onto that exit when in the right lane, when we're supposed to be going straight here. Not all the time, but it has happened, and the car didn't seem to want to do that at all, which is good. Ultimately, we will want to get into the left lane for our exit in 3 miles, but that's about 3 miles out, and traffic through here can be fairly dynamic. So staying in the right lane or the middle lane is perfectly fine for a while. Had a weird speed drop there. Not sure if anything showed up, but we slowed down noticeably. Not uncomfortably, but noticeably. Wasn't jamming the brakes, but it was still close to 5 miles per hour. I don't know if that's just we were passing people on the right, generally frowned upon, but I don't know if it was related to that. Reassessing how fast it was going. Yeah, unsure. We do need to get into the far left lane. There was a car coming. They turned on their blinker and moved over, so that was fine. Okay, we're going to just make both lane changes now, it seems. Honestly, people do that all the time around here. We're going the same speed as the car in front of us, so there's not much we can do there, but we are in the far left lane. We shouldn't go too slow here, but this is about to split into an exit. This is an exit-only lane. At that exit, it splits into two. We'll go left. 12.64 handles that fine every time. I don't expect any difference here. Now, we did just pass a speed limit 40. This car wants to come over. They showed enough intent. They had a blinker on. Maybe the car saw that. But they did start slowly moving over with plenty of room ahead of us, so our car handled it. Okay. Now, it technically turned 40 a while ago, but it seems to ignore those 40s most of the time. That Fusion should not have done that, in my opinion, but going 40 here is technically correct, and no one does it. Around that turn, yes, but taking anywhere on the inner loop, going through downtown, the speed is 40. Most people still stay 55 or 60. In the winter, those turns are sharp and icy and definitely drop down your speed. In the summer, people go 60 all the time, and it's perfectly safe. So the car dropping into the 40s is actually a bit of a problem there, in my opinion. It should stay the speed of the traffic around it, which is why I'm usually glad when it ignores the 40 limits, because it can just go the speed that the traffic is going. But yeah, this section is 45, so that is correct. Going 50 here is fine. Going 60 here is not. The lanes are tight, and turns are tight enough and stuff, and there's people coming on and off all the time, like we're about to see here, that it did think about changing lanes, but it keeps thinking about it, in fact. But yeah, going 50 here is fine. We are doing something weird with our turn signals. This section's always a bit weird because I feel like the map data is wrong about how these lanes split and join. So it keeps doing like one quick blink, it looks like. But yeah, just staying in the lane we were in is perfectly the right maneuver. Taking that exit is also fine. It's not what the map says, but it is the way that most people go. The navigation usually has me go this way, and I've actually come to prefer it because you don't get stuck at a light as long. But I have seen weird lane changes there on 12.64. This time we didn't change lanes, but we did signal a bunch of times, just once, which is gonna be confusing to anyone who's actually watching our car thinking like, oh, maybe they are actually going to change lanes. Visibility around this turn can be problematic. There wasn't anyone, so it was fine. We did turn corresponding. A lot of times 1264 would turn just into the right lane. Looks like our green is out, but there's a second one. Bit of a hard stop for the yellow. We were going slow enough that it wasn't super uncomfortable, but it was a bit of a hard stop. This is a no turn on red. 1264 would not turn on red here either. So people have talked about, like, does it read the signs? Is that map data? I'm pretty sure that's map data. I don't think it's really seeing that sign and using that to determine that. I think someday it could. There's no reason, photons to control. There's no reason the photons can't see, there's a sign there that says no turn on red, or has the, shape and colors and such for no turn on red. And that should directly drive the control. I mean, there's got to be a million points of training data of stoplight, no turn on red sign, and them telling the reinforcement model or whatever not to turn there. Okay, we go on our green because the red disappeared and the green next door showed up. Interesting. It did turn corresponding here. 1264 would always turn into the middle of that. It is 2 lanes for a very short period of time. And 1264 would not realize that there's 2 lanes there, so it would just go into the middle, thinking the whole thing was 1 lane, which is usually fine. It's 25 feet or so. So, but we actually turned tight and into that just fine. This person is going to parallel park. We have oncoming traffic. No, they're picking someone up. Okay. So depending on how quickly they do this, we may just start going or we may go around. We are going to go around. And we waited nicely for the oncoming traffic to clear. And that was fine. Yeah, that was good. Looks like a bunch of other people are going to go around too, so we would have been there a while if it had decided to wait. It is not a 25 here. This whole road is 30, and the nav data for the speed limits is completely wrong. It will jump up to 45, I think, at some point, and then eventually it realizes it's 30. It thinks it's 25 right now, so it wouldn't even go the speed limit on 1264. We'd cap out at like 28 or something because of my settings. So it not having necessarily a max speed limit could be good here, but we're not even going 30. Yeah, now it thinks it's 45. Thankfully, it's not speeding up. Someone getting out of their car, but we have to stop anyway. Something I didn't see, and I haven't seen for a while, I think, is the door open animation's the wrong word, but like graphic for when a door is open. There's a person there. Okay, it does sort of merge them together there. And now we actually, so it's 45 there. Now we actually get the 30 speed limit sign. I think that is the first one on here, but this whole stretch is 30. We have enough other cars that we're constrained by them, so. One of my complaints coming up here is that it would turn the left turn signal on too early. There'd be a whole other turn that it would look like we're going to turn into, but we're actually going further for a while. So it would turn on around here. Still a little early, but it did feel better because that's not the turn we want. This is the turn we want. Kind of busy. We'll get a chance here, though. Slows down to get up here. That's good. It used to not know about that particular entrance to the parking lot, but the nav updated at some point to include it. We have a stop sign just for people crossing here when it's busy. We have then the speed bump. Handled that fine. 2 more speed bumps. and then parking. And we'll see where it parks because I like to park on the left and it will probably try to park closer, which is on the right. Yeah, going nice and slow down to 4 miles per hour, it looks like, for these speed bumps. They're very well marked. Yeah, the pin itself looks like it's on the right. So I would take that left spot right there or the spot in between there. Okay, going on the left is good. This might be perfect. I'll turn the wheel to straighten it myself, but that's a good parking job. Um, we have maybe a little more space on the right, but plenty of space on the left. Um, we can't pull any more forward. I feel like we are kind of far back, but I think that's just because of that's just because of the car in front of us. Um, so I maybe wouldn't have chosen this spot. I maybe would have gone one more over, but I think that's about as good as I can get for a pull-in parking spot. Um, in terms of how it did it and the spacing to the car in front. So, all right, I'm gonna go work out for a little bit, and then we'll see what stuff we do on the way home. I have a couple stops I may end up doing, but I may end up skipping them. So it might just be the same route in reverse. Um, so see you then.